Hello and welcome into the KE Report. I'm your host, Shad Markwitz, and we're getting an update today on Scottie Resources, traded on the TSX.V under the ticker SCOT, and on the OTCQB under the ticker SCTSF. And we are joined today with the president and CEO of Scottie Resources, Brad Rourke. And Brad, always great to get you on the show to get an update on Scottie, especially when it's really good drill holes like we have to talk about today. You put out some news to the market on November 21st. And the headline hole, this is from the Scottie Mine area, is 8.3 grams per ton gold over 9.7 meters and 6.19 grams per ton gold over 8.7 meters. So really you got 8 over 10 and 6 over 9. So these are nice wide intercepts, very good grade. And it's nice to see some of these assays coming back from the Scottie Gold Mine project, just because we've spent so much time on Blueberry, and rightly so. There's been some amazing hits at Blueberry, but it's nice to circle back around to the Scottie Gold Mine area. Haven't had a lot of drilling since 2022, so I guess walk us through these holes. These are from the N as in Nancy and O as in octopus zone, and these are new zones that haven't seen a lot of drilling before.
That's right. Well, they did in the past, but mostly production drilling. And correct, we haven't really leaned into the Scottie over the last few years, mostly because they're just a little bit more expensive for us to drill, and Blueberry is such low-hanging fruit. But because we're going to come out with our maiden resource this year, we really need to include what's happening at Scottie. So we went and, I think 15 of our holes, so about a third of our program was at Scottie, and this is the first batch. And so you're right, we got the M, the N, the O, and it's neat because within our headline results, if you notice, they're longer holes. They intersect each one of these zones as we go down. And so, we missed the 26 grams over 2 meters in that as well at the M zone. So, very happy. And when you know that these are going to apply to the resource that's coming out, it can be pretty exciting. Again, everyone has their armchair quarterback on what's at Blueberry, but I think people have forgotten how good Scottie is. So we're happy to get those out, and and more to come.
Well, and let's dig into this. And for people listening, I'm going to attach two different maps, one from the corporate slide deck, but also one from this press release that kind of shows you the orientation of the M zone, the O zone. There's also the P zone, which we haven't even talked about yet. So there's a lot of zones, Brad. And I guess just walk people through a lot of the historic work. It seems like there's more work at the M zone than there is at the N or the O zone. So walk us through the significance of how this ties together with all these different zones.
Yeah, so when Scottie was in operation, it was producing a half ounce per ton, 16.2 grams recovered. 95% of that production came out of the M zone. So that was the vein set that Don McLeod was chasing. But late in the mine life, they pushed over a drift to the O zone, but never really mined it. And some of the highest grades that we've ever seen were at O zone, and historically, even within the Scottie drilling from the early 80s. But, they pushed a drift over there to the O zone, and then that's when they shut down. Now, the P zone is something we found that was not known, but is a function of going up on the mountain, trying to drill through the M, the N zone, and the O zone, and one drill hole can hit these multiple vein sets. And so we found the P zone. Yeah, and like I say, but most of all the drilling was focused around just the M zone, and I think it started out as the McLeod zone, and then I think they went MNOP, so they're the ones who came up with the lettering system. But yeah, P zone is we found. The O zone is continuing to show great promise. We've drilled so little into these things, so to get what we have is exciting. And yeah, the N zone is yet to come. There'll be more news on that as well coming out. So yeah, exciting.
Well, and I'll put in this section map that you also have in here too. So I'll actually attach 3 images, and you can kind of see how it starts in the O and drifts over into the M and the N, and there's even an L vein. So there's all these different areas. I guess just talk about how really there's too many veins to name, but there's just all these veins kind of stacked up, and how that ties together into the contiguous nature of the deposit.
Yeah, and they're vein sets, and it's much like Blueberry. The Blueberry veins, probably 6 veins, or the Lamafi and the coffee. And so we just kind of name them within vein sets, and that's what you would see at the M, N, O, and L, and just, hopefully these other ones expand. We just do such little drilling on them so far. But, you can see there's a business case to drill a lot more drilling here. I mean, again, I think we've gotten too focused on Blueberry these are a little bit higher grade, and because we're already there's like 7 kilometers of workings. I saw one comment that, oh, it's deep. You're going, well, no, it's really close to working. So, we're at ore in a lot of these places. Yeah. And like I say, we probably have still over half of our drill program to release, and so more information coming out. Yeah, for exactly these things. I have probably 3 more or 2 more results, news releases just on Scottie alone. And so we're working through those numbers now and we'll try and get them out to the market in a timely manner.
Well, and let's talk about the upcoming catalyst, like the resource estimate and then eventually an economic study you want to wrap around it. How much of it is going to be Blueberry included, and how much of it is the Scottie Gold Mine area, and is the D zone and C zone also going to factor in? Give us a kind of a snapshot of how this is all going to tie together into the bigger resource.
It's a great question, Chad. C and D will not be included in this resource, but the Scottie Gold Mine will. And the Scottie Gold Mine, how I look at it, is only going to be MN and O zones that will be included into that resource. And yeah, and then Blueberry, if we're correct and our estimations, 25% of the resource will come out of Scottie Gold and 75% out of the existing Blueberry stuff so far. And that's a big catalyst, and it's we were targeting 1 million ounces for that first MRE, but when you look at it, only includes maybe 50,000, 55,000 meters of total drilling since inception for us. So if we do hit that target, we think that that's very, very commendable, very, very impressive. And you can see the possibilities of C and D, Domino, we got to get back to. And so they're not going to be included because we just don't have enough drilling there. But we've got enough drilling that we can lean into it now and feel comfortable putting a bunch of meters in because we've hit a couple of seasons in a row, much like Blueberry was just one vein at one time. And now it's 40 veins or something. So the resource coming out will only be Blueberry and the proper Scottie Gold, but kind of what you're seeing right now. And so a lot more possibilities and exploration potential as well, because C and D zones are great. We just haven't got enough holes in it.
Well, and you don't even have the P zone here at the Scottie Gold Mine included. And then we mentioned last time you have a whole new target, the Golden Buckle Zone. Maybe just talk to us about that. It's kind of situated in between several of the other zones.
Yeah, so Golden Buckle is, this year we drilled 2 blind targets, Golden Buckle being one of them. And it kind of coincides just with what we found at C and D vein. I mean, it was just a historic grab samples there or something, and we went underground. So yeah, we haven't put those numbers out yet, but they're coming soon. And yeah, we went through a couple blind targets, and hopefully they come shining through. I think it fits this narrative. We've talked so much about the contact at Blueberry, which is fantastic. And that's a lithological contact. We have this where the Golden Buckle is, and End Zone, C and D, and all these are really within a 200-meter band around the Texas Creek Plutonic Suite. And so that's another contact, how we see it. So if you get Thomas talking too fast, you can get confused what contact he's talking about. But, we take from the Benzit vein all the way around to the Domino. It really follows this contact along the Texas Creek, the Pluton there. And we're finding most of our mineralization is within 200 meters of that. And then Blueberry is a different scenario. And again, both are very wide open and very, so much more drilling to be done. We could drill 100,000 meters now at these places just because the information we've collected thus far. So pretty exciting. We can still expand. Let's get that MRE out. But make no mistake, everything's open. We can continue to add ounces. So hopefully it's a good one.
Well, and we're still waiting on a lot of the assays, to your point, from this season's drill program. So we'll keep our eyes peeled as more assays come out. But in general, what areas do you think you really want to go attack on the next program? Maybe you're not going to do 100,000 meters, but I'm sure you'll do a nice program to follow up. What are the key hotspots?
Wow, we haven't had those conversations because my team will have a lot more to say than me. But I would assume, Blueberry has so much more to drill. Like, we really hardly drilled that, to be honest. And so a lot of the drilling is at the first 150 meters. We've got mineralization as far down as 500. I would assume that a lot of drilling at Blueberry for next year for sure. And then just so much to follow up on. Like, I mean, C and D deserves, a real program. You look at P zone, O zone. I think the O zone just keeps showing up great results. There's not that many holes there, and end zone where in the M, one of our best holes ever, I think. Sometimes we got bigger numbers, but for us, 5 years ago, but we drilled 50 meters in front of the vein at the M zone, and we got 11 grams over 11 meters, right? When you take that and that vein being 50 meters in front of the vein, where Don McLeod couldn't hit how we hit it because we're drilling these zones perpendicular from the surface, and he was always underground. And even when Bruce was drilling it, Bruce McLeod, they were just chasing the vein, so it's hard to hit it perpendicular. But to hit that one, 50 meters in front of the vein that produced a half ounce per ton is very exciting. So there's so much more to drill there. I think, we're not going to just focus on Blueberry anymore, but I mean, we'll probably do more at Blueberry next year than we did this year. A lot at Scottie, and I think we need to go after a bunch of zones that we just have not drilled before that are just begging for a drill hole. So keep looking for new discoveries because people forget C&D's a discovery for us. Blueberry's a discovery for us. We'll see what happens with the golden buckle, but Domino's a discovery for us. So I think a combination of add resource and go find a few, let's see what this can really show. In Michael Gray's report, he suggests, a blue sky at 3 million in around that Pluton. And we're comfortable saying 2, and give me some more drill holes. And then maybe I can feel comfortable saying 3 after another year. So,
Well, Brad, I think you're setting the company up for a pretty interesting period because you are going to be putting out a resource, you're going to be wrapping economics around it, and then on November the 20th, you also announced a share consolidation, a 6-to-1 consolidation, and this is really setting the company up for success with attracting investors that maybe didn't want to touch a company that has a higher share count, even though the market cap isn't going to change, it just becomes more attractive to them because it'll be a higher dollar amount, a tighter share structure. So maybe speak to the rationale behind the share consolidation that you just announced.
well, there's sensitive things, Shad, and we had this in our head for a while, and we're not sure is there ever a good time. But yeah, we think that we've been orphaned, and at a $50 million. So today I'm a $40 million market cap, but let's just say a $50 million market cap. With what we have to provide, we feel confident that we're just being overlooked. And so now we're at 50 million shares outstanding, $50 million market cap, just easy numbers for people to kind of see. But, we have a lot of confidence that we're being orphaned right now. And we have heard from, I kind of go after bigger investors, as you can tell by my registry. And a lot of the feedback in the US is there's funds that cannot invest unless it's 50 cents or $1 stock. We heard from bigger investors, oh, you're going to roll it back one day and I don't want to get in. And also, if you're buying from a Goldman account or a JP account, from my understanding, they charge you a penny a share. And so we got this out of a significant investor that was buying our stock. And he goes, it'd just be way better for me because it's at 10 cents US. If these bigger are charging him these commission fees, it's just a lot easier. So I think we've just we have a lot of confidence. So far, so good. Ask me at tomorrow close, but we're lucky that, gold was rising and we haven't really been affected much. But I think we stand on our head at a $50 million market cap. Today I'm a 40 million, but my marketing is going to be, look, with this amount of shares and a $50 million market cap with a resource coming out, and more importantly, the economics on that resource. People have to remember, like Scottie is one of the few mines in the world close to shipping facilities. And so we haven't been going down that route. And so I think with bringing on Kevin Jennings, we're going to start looking at this a little bit different and positioning the company a little bit different. We're 40 kilometers from a bulk terminal that ships across the ocean. Skeena's business plan, they're going to, for 240 kilometers, are going to drive their concentrates, and it's economical for Skeena. I'm only 40 kilometers away from that terminal. So, and with Kevin's connections from his past lives, we're excited to talk about perhaps direct shipping or toll milling, and we're just going to start putting numbers to it and just show people, again, what's the value of an ounce of gold in the ground in the Golden Triangle that's easy to get to, like what we have. And, it's certainly not, what are we getting valued at right now? With my cash and we're getting, $30 an ounce in the ground. Like, come on, it's high grade, it's easy, it's clean, and all the infrastructure is there in place. So yeah, we're going to change the channel a little bit and get a little bit more aggressive, but that's where Kevin comes in really handy these days.
Well, and let's just dive just a little bit deeper in that because I think the key here, Brad, is you got options. I mean, you've already tested the ore at Ascot's facility. You've already tested it at Bruce Jack, and it works great in both processing centers. But you can, like you say, go 40 kilometers and ship it to an export terminal over to the Asian markets, like some of the other companies are doing. And you've even mentioned last time, if you wanted to, you could build your own mill. So I guess just talk to the options that you have on a quality project like this.
Sure. So, there's a toll milling option that's potential. And as of recent, there's a good little company called Radisson did a toll milling agreement and, their stock went up probably 85%. There's a direct shipping ore potential. And there's a successful company called Contango Ore, and they're direct shipping ore, and that model works out really well for them. And then, of course, because I have a mine permit, we could mill ourselves. Now, I'm never said I'm going mining or anything, but we really need to put numbers to all these options. And so we'll make it easier for everyone to see that. And even my tailings, like they've been sitting there. We've done all the studies. Well, let's not sit on them anymore. It hasn't been a focus for us, but we can monetize those. Like, I mean, we've done every study possible. We know what it takes to make a concentrate out of them and ship them off to ocean partners. So, I think that's going to be a lot of the story because I have the finances to do these studies. And, we've got a lot of permitting stuff happening right now and bulk samples getting done and permits being, submitted and such. So we're just kind of ready for everything, but we don't believe we're beholden to anybody. I think too many people seeing us as little and kind of waiting for something to happen from somebody else's point of view. And I think with the rollback, we're showing people now we're happy. And again, I had 14 million shares, so I did it to myself and I paid for my shares, as Kevin Jennings has 30 million shares, of which, so we did it to ourselves, but we have confidence that it makes sense from an economic point of view, and we'll just take away the uncertainty. And like, again, what company has 50 million shares outstanding, $7.5 million cash, a resource coming out, more importantly, the economics and so yeah, we feel confident and strong. Yeah.
Well, I like hearing it, Brad, and it sounds like you're taking the bull by the horns and you're basically in charge of your own destiny now. So all of these initiatives, putting out the resource, starting to work on the economics, consolidating the shares to attract a different caliber of investor, and really showing people how this thing can grow. It's an interesting place for Scottie to be. So I think we'll wrap it up there for today. But if people listening in want to follow along with the news, you can definitely click on the link below this interview. It takes you right over to the Scottie Resources website, straight to their news section. And as more news breaks, you'll be the first to know. And you can also sign up for updates there. Brad, keep us posted. I'm sure there'll be a lot more drill news to come, and we'll get you back on for an update. And maybe we'll even get Thomas on here and do a tag team with you guys.
Yeah, it'd be better. Thomas presents so much better. Well, it's radio, so maybe I'm okay on audio only. One other thing I'd like to mention, Shad, before we go is in that news release, we're doing a webinar on next Wednesday to answer any questions. So if people have concerns or questions, we'll give an update. And with Thomas, myself, and Kevin will be on that webinar. So we're excited to talk about the project.
Fantastic. So anybody that's got those questions, definitely get on that webinar, send them into the Scottie Resources team. It's your chance to get your key questions answered and get a good snapshot of what's going on with the whole project. So looking forward to the next one, Brad, and keep us posted when you got more drill news. We'll do another one.
Well, enjoy yourself. Enjoy New Orleans. I wish I was there. And make sure you tell a few people about Scottie. Yep.